สำหรับในหัวข้อนี้นะคะจะเป็นเนื้อหาเกี่ยวกับการบุกเบิกนะคะการดำเนินการด้านสภาพภูมิอากาศค่ะกับความร่วมมือไทยสวิสแล้วก็สินเชื่อคาร์บอนเครดิตภายใต้มาตรา 6 นะคะของข้อตกลงปารีสนั่นเองค่ะเอาละค่ะสำหรับในส่วนของหัวข้อดังกล่าวนี้นะคะเราก็จะเป็นการบรรยายนะคะทีละท่านนะคะโดยเราได้รับเกียรติจากทางผู้ทรงคุณวุฒิถึง3ท่านด้วยกันสำหรับท่านแรกนะคะเราได้รับเกียรติจากทาง Deputy Secretary General at ONEP ค่ะ Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental นะคะตัวแทนจากทาง Thai Government รัฐบาลนั่นเองนะคะในลำดับนี้ค่ะขอเรียนเชิญคุณจิราวัฒน์รัตติสุนทรค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ Good afternoon everybody in here Dear Director International Relations Dr. Jacqueline Jakob Vice President of the EA Mr. Chatrapon Sripratum Ladies and Gentlemen On behalf of the ONEP I would like to express a warm welcome to all of your guys who attend the meeting namely on Pioneer Climate Action Thai-Swiss cooperation and carbon credit under the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. First of all, please allow me to admire KliK Foundation and EA for their intention to contribute to the country NDC as the first project of the Article 6 under the Paris Agreement that will be discussed today. As you may know, many reports identify that the world temperature is increasing at a continuous rate since 1880, about 0.2 degrees Celsius per decade. Now, the average temperature is about 1.1 degrees Celsius higher than the pre-industrial period. This figure seems to be low, but it extremely affects to the climate and ecosystem, especially on biodiversity such as severe flood and droughts, sea level rising, loss in biodiversity. I do believe that all of you should feel about it. In order to combat with the rest, the party of the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement are increased their ambitions by communicating through NDC and long-term low GHG emission strategy. The Prime Minister, General Prayut Chan-o-cha, announced that Thailand ambitious climate target during COP26 in Glasgow last November. The first one of the goal is to become climate neutrality by 2050 and to become a zero GHG emission in 2065. To ensure that our policies and plan are aligned with this target, ONEP has to revise intensively Thailand NDC target to reduce more on GHG emission rate by 30% BAU base and the additional 10% with international support on finance, capacity building, and technology transfer. Besides this, the long-term GHG strategy has to be in line with the goal in order to submit to the UNFCCC Secretariat before COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Ladies and gentlemen, to promote our action on the ground based on the additional 10% of the NDC, ONEP has signed the implementing agency on Article 6.2 under the Paris Agreement with the Federal Office of Environment of Switzerland. This agreement will allow the development of practicable GHG emission reduction initiatives with mutual interest of the two countries. The benefit will also support the government of Thailand to tackle with our commitment that given to the world and giving to the next generation. To support this cooperation between the government, KliK Foundation has played a crucial role on supporting private sector in developed projects that will comply with this agreement and contribute to Thailand GHG emission reduction target. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that now Thai land policy and regulatory are clearly stated. The second one, technology and financial support are in the good position with the local and international support. BCG model, carbon price, carbon credit, carbon market with the ESG concept are the main key successive to our goal. Finally, the crucial gaps to support need are participatory from all stakeholders, especially on youth and private sector, include paradigm shift to encourage Thailand to achieve the sustainable goals and low GHG emission pathway. So, I do believe these should be crucial key for Thailand to move forward. Thank you very much.
ค่ะต้องขอขอบพระคุณคุณจิราวัฒน์รัตติสุนทรเป็นอย่างสูงนะคะนี่คือสปีกเกอร์ท่านแรกของเรานะคะในหัวข้อดังกล่าวนะคะขอบคุณท่านมากเลยนะคะ Thank you very much. That is our first speaker. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next speaker, may I please invite the Director International Relations of KliK Foundation, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jacqueline Jakob. ขอเสียงปรบมือให้กับท่านด้วยค่ะ
โอเคพอดีมาก สวัสดีค่ะทุกคนค่ะยินดีที่ได้อยู่ที่นี้ตอนนี้เพื่อจะได้พูดกันเกี่ยวกับ climate protection ค่ะทำไมดิฉันพูดภาษาไทยได้ล่ะคะก็เคยเป็นนักเรียนแลกเปลี่ยนในเมืองไทยแต่ว่าหลายปีที่แล้วคือ30 ปีกว่าๆ ก็จำภาษาไทยนิดหน่อยได้แต่ว่าไม่จำพูด carbon market ในภาษาไทยไม่ได้เสียใจค่ะเพราะฉะนั้นจะเปลี่ยนเป็นภาษาอังกฤษ Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Secretary General ONEP, Kun Jiravat, Kun Chatrapon of Energy Absolute, it's a great pleasure of being here today. I would like to welcome you to this initial phase of a new market emerging. It's pioneering climate action in Thailand, and the new market is carbon markets. Do you know what the currency of a carbon market is? It's a carbon credit, yes, but our carbon market currency is called ITMO. You see it here. We buy ITMOs, internationally transferable mitigation outcomes. So forgive me if I talk about ITMO or about ITMO. I always mean carbon credits, but there are several kinds of carbon credits, and the carbon credits that we, Foundation KliK, are interested in are the ITMOs. No. On June 24, 2022, so this very year, a bilateral cooperation agreement between Switzerland and Thailand was signed. You see here Rathamontri Varavut, and you see here Rathamontri Somaruga. It's not me. Some people think she does look a little bit like me, or rather I look like her, but it's our Minister Simonetta Sommaruga, our Minister for Environment, and Rathamontri Varavut, your Minister for Environment. They signed this bilateral cooperation agreement, which is the legal basis for a public-private partnership which has not been seen so far. It's one of the newest public-private partnerships so far. With this bilateral agreement, a climate protection programs in Thailand may sell carbon credits abroad, and Swiss entities, such as, for instance, Foundation KliK, may buy these carbon credits. These carbon credits are then transferred to Swiss government to fulfill the Swiss NDC. As Kun Jiravat told us just before, Thailand has an NDC, a climate commitment, so has Switzerland a climate commitment, and we buy the carbon credits to help fulfill the Swiss commitment. I'm going to speak about 4 things. First of all, the introduction. Who are we? Who is KliK Foundation? Second, what's the international frame we operate in? Third, what requirements have to be met when you have program ideas? And then I will briefly touch upon the procurement process. If you have a program idea, how can you hand it in? As I said, it's a public-private partnership of a very new kind. That means that all these things I'm going to say have a double perspective. It has the governmental perspective. We need to enhance understanding of the country's pledges under the Paris Agreement. We want to highlight the 2 countries' pledge under the Paris Agreement, but there is also a private perspective. We want to highlight the benefits, the co-benefits for private sector, mainly for you. And we want to establish partnership with private entities, with private companies here in Thailand in order to build this international carbon market and to make it up and running. Who is KliK Foundation? Whom am I representing? The ones who do not like words, but the ones who like pictures. You see what we do. Switzerland reduces greenhouse gas emissions from transport and others because transport sector is obliged to pay for compensation programs. So that's what we do. By purchasing the resulting emission reductions, the KliK Foundation provides the necessary financial contributions to make your program financially viable. Fact is, we are a private entity, so you may think I speak on behalf of Swiss government. That's not the case. We do have very good relations with Swiss government, but we are private. We are obliged to do the compensations, and KliK Foundation is acting on behalf of motor fuels importers. We intend to buy some 20 to 40 million of tons of CO2 equivalent reductions between today, 2022, and 2030. As I said, we need these carbon credits to help fulfill the Swiss commitment under the Paris Agreement. So what is the Swiss commitment under the Paris Agreement, and what's the Paris Agreement all about? Kun Jiravat mentioned it already. There is this famous NDC, the Nationally Determined Contribution. With the Paris Agreement, all the signing parties agreed to keep global warming well below 2 degrees Celsius. Therefore, they have created as the building block the national determined commitments, the NDCs, so that each country sets itself a target in reductions and wants to reach this target. Another central element of the Paris Agreement is Article 6.2 and 6.4, as Kun Jiravat already alluded to. With Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, the international carbon market is created. However, you may know, Paris happened in 2015. It was not until 2021 in November, until the COP26 in Glasgow, that we had the requirements known, the minimal requirements, the quality assurance under which these programs should operate. So we only have Glasgow rules since about 9 months now. And we are supposed to be up and running already, producing the programs, producing the carbon credits. You see, it's a really difficult task, and we need you as our cooperating partners. What do the Glasgow rules say? The aim of the Glasgow rules is to assure that the programs are environmentally integral, that they do respect human rights, for instance, that they avoid double counting of carbon credits, and also that they promote sustainable developments in line with SDG goals 2030. What is the carbon market? It's a new market emerging, okay, and as with all markets, there are goods traded between the participants of the market. So there is an exchange of carbon credits between Thailand and Switzerland. These credits, they are called, as I said already, ITMOs, Internationally Transferred Mitigation Outcomes. And then there is the exchange between Switzerland and Thailand. Thailand produces the carbon credits, Switzerland buys it. And when I say Switzerland, it can be both. It can be Swiss government itself, or it can be Swiss private entities who hand it in to government. And the only organization in Switzerland who has an obligation to hand in carbon credits is KliK Foundation, is my organization. Now, you certainly want to know what kind of programs are we looking at and what are the preconditions. Because this is a public-private partnership and because this is not a market between private entities only, because there is some government involvement with their pledge done under the Paris Agreement, there are requirements from the international frame, from the Paris Agreement. And one of the requirements is it has to be aligned with the Thai NDC. I was chatting to Jiravat before because I'm really curious to know the NDC in details, and we will continue our talks later on because we do not want to do programs which are not in line with Thai priorities. Another requirement of the Paris Agreement and the Glasgow rules is that the programs must not be implemented yet. So it must be new, there must be new and fresh programs. We cannot finance a program which is already running, even though it is a very good climate protection program. It has to be fresh. Another requirement is that the programs must be additional. That means they would not be able to be implemented financially wise if there was not carbon finance from the selling of carbon credits, which make the program financially viable. The fourth requirement is a requirement by KliK Foundation. We intend to have programs of larger size. We think of some 500,000 tons of CO2 until 2030 would be the minimum. Why? Because it's a very complicated mechanism. There's a lot of overhead costs. You will see many people have to work for it, so we go for big. And our obligation to hand in carbon credits is big. I told you, 20 to 40 million tons of CO2 until 2030. We have big work in front of us. Another requirement is from the Swiss government. Swiss government has issued its national framework in May this year. And there it says we are not entitled to support programs, hydro programs larger than 20 megawatt capacity. So the other way around, we may support programs with smaller hydro plants up to 20 megawatt capacity. Another important requirement of Swiss government is no forestry programs, no biological sequestration, because of fears about temporary reduction about permanence of the sequestration. And there is no support of nuclear power and no support for programs who lead into a fossil fuel lock-in. That means that having the program implemented, there is no way of getting rid of fossil fuels anymore because we have installed new technology based on fossil fuels, even though it is less consuming. These are the main requirements. So these are the programs we are currently looking at. We have various countries where we are active, and we have programs in solar PV. We have these ideas in Ghana, namely in Ghana, there we have a big program almost ready to start. Dominica, and I hope there will be programs in Thailand with solar PV. Green credit lines, clean cooking, biogas would be an interesting avenue for companies in Thailand. We have such programs already being designed in Senegal, Morocco, and Peru. Energy efficiency in general, it could be in SMEs, small and middle enterprises, but it could also be in buildings. We do have building programs in Georgia, and I could imagine very well to have a building program also in Thailand. Electric mobility, our flagship program in Thailand. We will hear about it later by Kun Chatrapon. Waste management would also be an avenue to go, to have the proper technology to do the waste management, to work with recycling instead of throwing away and filling landfills. As a rule of thumb, either programs with the substitution of fossil fuels with energy from renewable sources, or to reduce or avoid the methane emissions, like for instance in rice cultivation. We are also looking at alternative wetting and drying. Just as I mentioned, that's a manner how to cultivate rice, which this approach reduces methane emission as well as water consumption. As you know, water is also a scarce resource. Green cooling, the substitution of dangerous refrigerants with more climate-friendly refrigerants, such as hydrocarbons, and we also look at cement, sustainable construction with LC3 cements, for instance. This is, as I mentioned, our flagship program in Thailand. We will hear about it in a minute. By purchasing the resulting emission reductions, the KliK Foundation provides the necessary financial contributions to make the program financially viable. We will hear more about it from Energy Absolute Kun Chatrapon in a minute. So now, you want to know, how can we engage with KliK Foundation, yeah? You have got a program idea, and you are sitting here hoping to talk to me and getting the silver bullet from me. I tell you, it's a cycle, and it's a long cycle to go. First of all, you have to go to step 1, register on our online application tool, KliK Foundation, and make an application with a mitigation activity idea note. We call it a main, and you find all the guidance in the online application tool. You also find a template for this main document where you outline what is your program idea, what do you estimate can you achieve with it, how much would it cost, how you would secure the investment financially viable, how you will make it financially viable with carbon credits. You also have to think about the institutional setup. You all write this down in the main, and then you send it hand it in to KliK Foundation, and we're doing an evaluation. The evaluation of this idea note can be approval, a rejection for improvement, or it can be rejected for good. If you get an approval of your idea note, then you will pass on to stage 4 and you are invited to do a proper design document. We call it MADD, and to do this conceptual paperwork, to do the detailed description of the program. KliK Foundation is ready to support the development. As you know, we are buying carbon credits, and the credits are the product of a long journey of your program. So the KliK Foundation's mandate is not to invest into your program, but to buy the product in the end. And we are very well aware that it is difficult to have no money at disposal and to bring about an entire program to design the program, to implement the program. We know that you need funding. So after you have handed in the design document, this has to be validated by an independent verifier, companies, auditor companies such as SGS, South Pole, My Climate, you name it. There are various in the whole world. They are carbon consultants who have experience in carbon markets, in other carbon markets, and they may help. They may check whether your design document is waterproofed and is to the point. Then they make a validation report, and the validation report, together with the MAD, can be handed into the governments for authorization by the governments. Why, do you ask? Why do we have to hand the documents to our government? I told you, it's a public-private partnership which is not seen, not known so far. It's a really new kind. And of course, the governments want to have a say in the programs because they have their achievements, they have their pledges under the Paris Agreement, and they have to make sure that the programs and the carbon market emerging under this activity, under the Paris Agreement, are of good quality, avoid double counting, ensure environmental integrity, and fulfill the national requirements of each government. And only when you have walked all this circle, you're ready to start with implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, and I come to the end of my presentation. I understand that you got some insights, but maybe you're a little bit confused on a higher level. So if that's the case, I guess we have the opportunity to ask questions and to enter into discussion afterwards, either here on the stage or you meet me later somewhere out there. I'm available for you. One last thing, you see this QR code here. Please scan it. You come to a home page, to a page where you can inscribe for the KliK Foundation newsletter Thailand. When you inscribe for the newsletter Thailand, you will be always up to date of the newest actions, the newest activities, and the stage of the development of the carbon market. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
ค่ะขอเสียงประมือด้วยนะคะ Thank you very much Dr. Jacqueline Jakob for your presentation ขอบคุณค่ะ And of course we have another speaker for the presentation with pioneering climate action. So ladies and gentlemen, may I please invite the Vice President of Strategy Development and Investment Planning Department, Energy Absolute Public Company Limited. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Chatrapon Sripratum. ขอเสียงปรบมือให้กับท่านด้วยค่ะ
ขอบคุณครับ First of all I would like to thank you คุณจิรวัตรนะครับท่านรองเลขาสผ and Dr. Jacqueline นะครับ to having me here today and I am Chatrapon or you can call me Chap. I am from Energy Absolute Public Company Limited. Okay, I think as Kun Jacqueline mentioned that we work with Swiss government, Thai government and the KliK Foundation for a while. Okay, and we are the first pioneer project under the name E-Bus Program, and we are the first project under the Article 6 based on the Paris Agreement. Okay, so let me quickly brief about our project and why we need the support from the KliK Foundation and why it's good for the country. Energy Absolute, we are the listed company in Thailand. Okay, right now we are developing the EV ecosystem fleet in Thailand. Okay, we are not only renewable energy developer. We also develop the first one is a lithium-ion battery factory. We have the KliK factory in Chatrapon province. Okay, that's the first one. The second one we have our own EV factory located in Chatrapon province as well, but different district. Okay, the third one is a very important infrastructure, our charging station under the brand EA Anywhere. So far we have around 600 charging station cover the all Bangkok area, and not only Bangkok, also the upcountry. So we have lithium battery factory, we have the EV factory, and we have the charging station. The last one that we own is the private bus line. Our group we own around 123 bus line in Bangkok, private route. Okay, this 123 bus line represent 4,000 e-bus that we target to totally transform the existing bus, I mean ICE or NGV to EV bus. The big issue and the big problem to success in this project is about the initial capex. Right now, the initial capex between the ICE bus and the EV bus is a little bit higher than the ICE bus, the big gap. Okay, that's the first issue. But in the long run, everyone know that the operating expense and the fuel cost for the EV bus is much better than the ICE bus. So how can the developer like us make the decision to totally transform the whole fleet? Okay, we need to get the support financing to close the gap between the capex of the e-bus and the ICE bus. And finally, we made the solution. We talked to the KliK Foundation and we do the carbon financing. And we are the first project under Article 6. Okay, so based on this one, we work with KliK for a couple months. Okay, in order to achieve the technical document to submit everything within timeline. Okay, and right now we are developing and operate roughly around 200 e-bus in Bangkok. I think you can see the blue bus over there. That is our e-bus, fully produced by the local supplier because we are the Thai company. Okay, and not only the bus but also the key equipment and the key part is the lithium-ion battery that's also produced in Thailand as well. So based on this ecosystem, we can not only totally transform the bus in Thailand to the e-bus, but we can, increase the GDP in the country. We can create more job and create more value for Thailand. Okay, right now 200 e-bus operating. End of this year, we plan to have at least 1,000 e-bus in Bangkok to cover 123 bus line. And end of next year, we plan to have at least 3,000 e-bus operating. Okay, and the last one is the most important thing. We are not only totally transform the bus, but we keep the same price. We don't increase the price. I mean the ticket when you take a bus, the same price. Okay, and that's the one thing that we do with the KliK Foundation. Another thing that I think we will start talking to the KliK Foundation is about our water transportation. In Bangkok, you know that we have the main river, Chao Phraya River, and you can see the express boat. Okay, that is stop by stop. Okay, it's very the old boat. This one we have planned to transform the boat to the EV boat. Okay, actually right now we are operating 27 e-ferry already to be like the bus stop by stop in the river. Okay, and mid of next year we will have another 7 ferry in the Chao Phraya River. Okay, and this one, for example, the ferry, one ferry we can it can generate carbon credit or reduce the carbon emission around 200 ton per e-ferry per year. And the e-bus we can reduce roughly around 70 ton carbon per EV per e-bus. Okay, so this is the huge project between the e-bus and the ferry, and then we would like to connect between the water transportation and our e-bus line together. For the e-ferry from the north to south, we have the 5 connector to connect between the e-ferry and the e-bus, and we try to cap the fee, the ticket fee, not higher than 40 Thai baht per trip until end of this year. Okay, this promotion can make Bangkok people more happy and decrease the transportation cost for the labor level. So this is just an example of our product. It's about the ferry, about the bus. And end of this year, we plan to launch the e-pickup and the e-truck. Okay, this also will drive the EV market in Thailand. So back to this program under Article 6, I think not only Energy Absolute but any other big corporate, you can talk to the KliK Foundation and find a way to work together. Because once I get the carbon financing, I will bring back this money and reinvest in Thailand to create more jobs and make Thailand to achieve the goal for the carbon reduction. Okay, this is the big goal in the world and big goal for Thai people. I think this one, everyone need to help each other to achieve the goal in 2030 to decrease the carbon reduction roughly around 40%. And hopefully, Energy Absolute will be one of the key private sector to drive and achieve the goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much รบกวนท่านอยู่กับเราด้านบนเวทีก่อนนะคะ Please remain on stage, and next to present a token of appreciation to each of our speakers, may I please invite ในลำดับต่อไปนะคะที่ฉันขอเรียนเชิญท่านผู้ช่วยกรรมการผู้จัดการศูนย์ 4 อาเซียนค่ะคุณสุทธิพันธ์นุชฉายานะคะเพื่อให้เกียรติขึ้นมอบของที่ระลึกให้กับสปีกเกอร์ของเราแต่ละท่านด้านบนเวทีค่ะเชิญเลยค่ะท่านแรกนะคะคุณฉัตรพลศรีประทุมนะคะ Vice President of Strategy Development and Investment Planning Department Energy Absolute Public Company Limited Mr. Chatrapon Sripratum. And next may I please invite Mr. Jiravat Ratisoontorn, the Deputy Secretary General at ONEP Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Representative from the Thai government.แล้วระหว่างนี้นะคะอยากจะเชิญทุกท่านนะคะสแกน QR Code ของทางมูลนิธิคลิกนะคะเพื่อติดตามข่าวสารนะคะจากทางมูลนิธิได้ค่ะ Also, I would like to invite everyone to scan the QR code from KliK Foundation to keep updated on news and activities. And next, may I please invite Dr. Jacqueline Jakob, the Director, International Relations of KliK Foundation.And of course, to join us for a group photo on stage, may I please once again invite all of our speakers on stage to join us with คุณสุทธิพันธ์นุชฉายา please เชิญทุกท่านด้านบนเวทีเลยนะคะเพื่อให้เกียรติร่วมถ่ายภาพค่ะขออนุญาตประชาสัมพันธ์อีกครั้งนะคะสำหรับ QR Code บนหน้าจอตอนนี้นะคะจะเป็นในส่วนของทางมูลนิธิคลิกนะคะเพื่อให้ทุกท่านเนี่ยสามารถติดตามข่าวสารแล้วก็กิจกรรมจากทางมูลนิธิได้นะคะ Once again I would like to ask everyone to please scan the QR code on your screen from KliK Foundation to keep updated on news and activities from KliK Foundation ขอบพระคุณทั้ง4ท่านเป็นอย่างสูงเลยนะคะ